ESPN's Rivalry Week, presented by Wendy's. Wichita State leading the Valley against Illinois State, the hottest team in the Valley. They started 0-6 in league play. No team in 106 years has started 0-6 in the league and finished with a winning record. The Redbirds are on their way. Good evening, everyone. I'm Mitch Holtis along with Mark Adams. Illinois State is red hot. We had them 3.5 weeks ago. They were winless in the league. What happened to these guys?
The greatest comeback story in college basketball started with a suspension of their high scorer, Tyler Brown. His mother gave him 2 sage pieces of advice: accept responsibility and move forward. Since that advice, Illinois State has won 7 out of the last 8. The best comeback story in college basketball, Illinois State against first place, Wichita State in the Valley.
Always listen to Mom, and Mom says throw it to Jackie Carmichael.
It's always a good option to go inside. You've got Carl Hall for the Wichita State Shockers and Jackie Carmichael for Illinois State. In a word, physical matchup inside. Jackie Carmichael loves to play down the block, and he's got some great offensive tendencies. When he turns over the right shoulder, look for the soft fade along the baseline. He's got a soft touch, and he's athletic enough to let it fly. When he's on the opposite block, watch him turn over his left shoulder, where it's a soft touch off the glass, a little jump hook by Jackie Carmichael. But where I love Jackie Carmichael, there's 2 kinds of post guys, those that run and those that sprint. Jackie Carmichael is a sprinter, and he finishes with an exclamation point. Jackie Carmichael.
The Wichita State lineup again, they lead the league currently. And we mentioned Carl Hall. He's kind of the pop of this group as a senior, but he gets a lot of help. His buddies can play. Malcolm Armstead, the transfer from Oregon, doing a great job for Wichita State. Now, Illinois State, Carmichael is almost averaging a double-double, the senior from Manhattan, Kansas. But all the rest of his teammates have taken turns stepping up, especially Tyler Brown, the senior, who is scoring now over 20 points with regularity, Mark.
He's been the hot hand.
Great group of officials, very, very experienced. David Hall, Paul Jansen, and Jerry Pollard. Wichita State with the first possession. And Armstead, that's a rare air ball, and Illinois State will get it.
In the pregame talk, Dan Muller, the head coach for Illinois State, said deliver the first punch. Watch for Illinois State to come out inspired early.
Illinois State wearing their road red tonight. This is a red out. Wichita State did this earlier at home when they had a blackout and they beat Creighton. And a big crowd tonight here in Central Illinois. Carmichael. And Wichita State, just an excellent defensive team. I'm not sure there's a team right now in the country that plays harder than the Shockers.
They recover so quickly. They're the most athletically gifted team in the Missouri Valley.
Arupe, more of a shot blocker, but he's going to the line. He got a foul on Jackie Carmichael. Greg Marshall, last year, led Wichita State to the Valley Championship with 27 wins. The year before, an NIT championship with 29 wins. 102 wins, Mark, over the last 3+ years for Greg Marshall and the Shockers.
And he loves pace. If you see any score, 80 or above, 85-4, Greg Marshall.
Arupe, as you can see, is not a shooter. He is only 37% at the line.
Well, he matches up with Jackie Carmichael on the defensive end.
He actually hit a free throw against Drake Wednesday night, and he gets one here. But that first foul on Jackie Carmichael will be something we'll watch closely.
Watch how Wichita State just reacts defensively. Tyler Brown has settled for 2 long jump shots early. Usually when he's in attack mode and gets a layup or 2, that's when the basket gets big for him.
He had 5 first-half threes at Southern Illinois, but right now tonight, And Dan Muller, one of the heroes in Illinois State's proud history. In fact, the last time the Redbirds won an NCAA game, Muller was on the floor. 12 years he was with Kevin Stallings at Vanderbilt. He played for Stallings here at Illinois State.
Two-time Missouri Valley Defensive Player of the Year in his playing career.
Arupe trying to get a second foul inside on the Redbirds.
There's Carmichael.
And there's your fade on the baseline. Hill's got some hops and saves the possession.
The length of Ahime Arupe bothering Jackie Carmichael early.
And both teams seem a little amped up here as Wichita State gets in a hurry and turns it over.
A lot on the line, Mitch. You got Illinois State, who opened the season 0-6. They've won 7 out of their last 8. Now back to even 7-7 in conference play. Wichita State a half game lead on Creighton, who won yesterday at Evansville.
DeKale Cotton will be called for the foul as David Hall writes the ticket. Let's take a look now at the Valley standings. Yesterday, Creighton was able to get a hard-fought victory at Evansville, so they stay close. Wichita State right now with the half-game lead.
I'm going to give you an early warning. Watch out for Northern Iowa. They're playing as well as anybody right now.
Brown. A wild shot and nearly fouls.
Carl Hall working hard against Jackie Carmichael. I think the interesting matchup here is number 11, Cleanthony Early in black versus John Wilkins, number 13 in red.
Armstead long on a 3. Carmichael, an NBA move, but he could not get the finger roll. He runs. He's a 400-meter runner.
47 seconds in high school for the 400.
Kansas State, what K-State offered him a track scholarship coming out of Manhattan High School.
But he wanted to pursue his dream to play Division I college basketball.
Went to prep school and then here to Illinois State. And DeKale Cotton travels coming down the alley, or he would have had a point-blank shot.
Well, these two teams are tight. There's so much on the line tonight.
You know, the Valley has one of the great postseason tournaments in the country. They call it Arch Madness in St. Louis. Honestly, Mark, this feels like a semifinal game at Arch Madness. That's that kind of tension in the arena tonight. Tough shot in front of the Redbirds. Johnny Hill with a bucket.
Now, Johnny Hill has shown a lot of leadership. He took over the point guard duties for Nick Moore, who was a tremendous freshman point guard a year ago, and they were best friends. And when Nick Moore left, it really left a void for Johnny Hill in a lot of ways, but a great opportunity to play.
Moore went with Tim Jankovic to SMU. The layup in as a great back cut by Malcolm Armstead.
Malcolm Armstead read the defender, the back of his head, couldn't see him, went right to the basket.
Demetric Williams playing with a bad hip. And a foul on Cleanthony early, trying to get it back. They thought they had the lob done. Jackie Carmichael trying to get in the book for the first time tonight. Defense is ruling.
Hello, I'm Greg Boyce, Chairman and Chief Executive Officer.
Indiana, Michigan State, and Florida, Missouri. Tuesday on ESPN.
ESPNU's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Wendy's, proud sponsor of the 2013 John R. Wooden Men's Player of the Year Award. Both of these teams reconnecting defensively. Look at Doug Collins, one of the greatest players of all time in basketball. He played here at Illinois State. 3-2 Wichita State with the advantage. Now, Wichita State had a 3-game losing streak. That's when Greg Marshall sent everybody down. They got back to try to rekindle their passion. Illinois State, they're 7-1 because of defense. It's not often you get an easy bucket.
But look at Brian Allen. He loses vision right there, and Malcolm Armstead takes advantage. And Mitch, when you get easy baskets like that, the basket gets big. But the converse point is, Illinois State has improved dramatically since their 0-6 start. They bought into defense, and they had defensive practices for weeks on end at 7 a.m. in order to get their attention, and Dan Muller got their attention in a big way.
In their 7 wins, they have only allowed opponents 39% from the field.
And Wichita State, when they went through their 3-game losing streak, they lost focus on defense. And Greg Marshall looked at old video from earlier in the season and just showed them how intense they were, how they reacted to the ball, and they have picked it up again defensively.
Kaysa Keene travels with it. The freshman point guard, the first Canadian to play in Illinois State history. Only his 55th turnover of the year. He's got 87 assists. Wichita State's not only a team that plays with effort defensively, but they'll change their scheme. Don't they make it tough on you with the way they switch?
They're just so quick athletically. They can switch in every position. Watch good reaction defensively.
David Hall says it's off Illinois State. And the Shockers have 15 to shoot with an underneath inbounds.
Little 2-3 zone on the out-of-bounds play. Now Illinois State switches to man-to-man.
Wichita State reads it as Carl Hall with the stick back.
That's how Wichita State wins. They outwill you on the offensive glass.
Mark, in the last 96 games, they have been out-rebounded 9 times. Only once this year, and that was by 1 rebound. Van Vliet coming off his career game. Wednesday night against Drake.
Watch Fred Van Vliet, number 23. Watch him dig on the post. He'll come through with that right hand and just strips the basketball. Quick reaction, quick hands to the ball. And he's a freshman that's developing every game. There's Van Vliet right there.
A native of Illinois, had a great high school career. Armstead misses the 3. Brown is going to the line, drew the foul on Takale Cotton, who's bewildered by the call. That's the 2nd foul on Cotton.
And that's key. Takale Cotton is the one guy in this conference, even when Tyler Brown gets it going, can defend him. But now he's going to have to sit with 2 fouls.
And Brown, good at the line. He'll hit 4 out of every 5 free throws. The reigning Missouri Valley Conference Player of the Week. In his offensive output, he had 27 at Creighton in a game you had, 25 at Drake. Some of his biggest games have been on the road.
You know, what's interesting about Tyler Brown is that he really wasn't motivated to go to college. He ended up at Morehead State, didn't work out, transferred to a junior college, started taking school more seriously along with his basketball. And the good news is Tyler Brown will graduate from this great university in May. Well done, Tyler. time to get in the offense for Wichita State on this possession, and that's the result. The contested long shot by Anthony Early.
Early is 3 out of his last 16 on three-point makes. Allen, and he'll get an and-one opportunity. The former wide receiver for the Minnesota Gophers looked like he caught a slant pattern. He'll go to the line.
He went for 30 against UAB earlier this season. Very unusual for Wichita State. Did not get help on the backside. Shadrack Field was the help defender and did not react.
Brian Allen was a part-time starter at Minnesota for the Gophers when Tim Brewster was the head coach. They had a coaching change. Jerry Kill took it over. He decided to play Division I basketball. He's a St. Louis area native.
He's one of 3 Illinois State Redbirds that has gone for 30 in individual games this season. Only 2 other schools can brag 3 30-point scorers in individual games. Gonzaga and Providence, the other 2. Just nothing easy against the red jersey defense.
10 to shoot. Wiggins. 4 non-starters on the floor for Wichita State, but they lead the Valley in bench production. Extra pass, Upshaw. Armstead will try to get something in transition here. Bluefield fouled by Wilkins.
Foul 13, John Wilkins, his first, second team foul against Illinois State. Chadwick Bluefield at the free throw line for Wichita State. 2 shots.
Bluefield, one of those big, strong guys, comes off the bench. There you see his numbers. Greg Marshall knows he's got to use some big, strong bodies against Jackie Carmichael all night long. Bluefield's one of those 5 foul guys.
Yeah.
He can foul out as long as he's tough and physical with Jackie Carmichael.
Bluefield, another Canadian, one of 2 on this Shocker roster. There's 1 for Illinois State. Bluefield not a good foul shooter, just 44%. Sharks are getting the wrong guys to the line. 2-point lead for the Redbirds. We played 8 minutes.
The whole key against Illinois State, how well do you defend the dribble?
Bluefield at the basket, and he's got the foul. Van Vliet beat on the dribble. 2-point lead for the home team. League. Evansville was the last to do it in 1999 with Jimmy Cruz. 3 teams, though, that year went from the Valley to the NCAA tournament, including Missouri State, that went all the way to the Sweet 16. If Wichita State loses tonight, they'll be tied again with Creighton with 5 Valley losses.
You're like a history professor.
You get 3 hours of credit. You got to write a paper, though.
I feel like I'm sitting next to Dr. Jones, Indiana Jones.
10 pages, double spaced.
Nice job. Wichita State option 1 was Carl Hall on the backside. Now they go their on-ball screen. But Illinois State's hard work defensively, recognized by this crowd and by us. They are really getting down and rotating defensively.
3 turnovers for Wichita State. It looked like Hall had the alley on the slip.
This team has improved dramatically on the defensive side of the ball because of the hard work, the 7 a.m. workouts. where it was total 100% focused on defense.
Carmichael, what body control for his first 2 points of the game to avoid contact and a potential charge.
Carmichael read the screen perfectly as he came out to set the on-ball screen. When he saw his defender go to the ball, he slipped right to the basket. Hands up, deflections.
Trailing another 3-point attempt, badly missed by Zeke Upshaw. Van Vliet, and there's the offensive foul. Let's go back to Carmichael's bucket. He had the body control to go straight up and avoid contact from the defender here, and Van Vliet gets called for the charge.
Jackie Carmichael reads this perfectly. Watch his defenders. He sets the screen. And Carl Hall cheats just a tad to the ball. Carmichael reads it, goes right into the dead space in the floor. That's smart basketball.
But how many times do we see a guy with the ball go into contact and get the offensive foul in that situation?
He's such a great athlete. Smart athlete.
Brown, nowhere to go. Great defense for the Shockers. Jackie Carmichael stepped out. Paul Jansen right on it.
Well, there you saw again the ability of Jackie Carmichael to sprint the floor, that time on the defensive end.
Jerry Pollard.
Yeah, should not be a reset on the shot clock. No change of possession.
And still, the shot clock has not been reset. I want to ask you about Illinois State's transition defense. We talked about how they've improved on the half court. Wichita State likes to push it and look for opportunities. They had a great start to this game. With Illinois State, what about their propensity to get back?
Well, Illinois State known much more for their offensive execution in 94 feet than getting back defensively. But that's one thing that Dan Muller focused on, and they have shored up defensively. Illinois State a lot better defensive transition team than they were 1 month ago.
Took a while, now we're screwed up again. They got 0 on the shot clock. The officials haven't seen it yet.
Yeah,
now Jerry Pollard's got it. Pollard may have to take his toolkit over there and say, wait a minute. All 3 of these officials have worked big games in their career. All of them. And Pollard's one of the best. He and David Hall commiserating.
Whenever I was coaching and I'd see a shot clock malfunction or a clock malfunction early in the game, then it's time to assign one assistant coach to watch that clock every single possession, especially late game. Because if something's going to go wrong, oftentimes it happens in a late game situation.
What were you like as a coach when you'd walk out and see these 3 officials on the floor? Someone like them.
So a high level of confidence.
Yeah.
High level of confidence. It's one less thing you got to worry about. Just worry about your team playing.
Wiggins. Carmichael.
The greatest shot blocker in Illinois State history.
And deep, but well defended. Off Illinois State, and Wichita State's hustle under the goal gains them the basketball.
Rarely do you see a block shot like that deep in the paint. Jackie Carmichael caught that basketball nearly under the rim and was turned away.
The Manhattan, Kansas native. What do we have, 6 NBA scouts here tonight at least to look at Jackie?
Well, don't sleep on Anthony early, too. He's another guy that the best raw talent in the Missouri Valley Conference. Look at that rotation.
Brown fouled as Wiggins trying to get back.
Wichita State fouled 15, Nick Wiggins, his first.
And the Shockers of Wichita State have not scored a field goal since the 14:33 mark. Over 5 minutes.
You know why? Those guys in the red jerseys are flat out D'ing it up. It has been a clinic in the first 10+ minutes of this game, how Illinois State has defended.
Brown doesn't miss much at the line. His first miss tonight.
Illinois State, Mitch, is the one team in this conference that physically and athletically matches up with Wichita State better than anybody in the Missouri Valley.
The Shocks are 21-5, 10-4 in the league, and they've had a plethora of injuries they've had to fight through. Right now they're fighting down 7 on the road. Got to figure out a way to score.
Well, Cleanthony Early is the guy that can really create offense, number 11 in black. John Eaton matched up with him. There he is.
Armstead, the veteran. Foul in Illinois State. And sometimes, and we've said this before, Mark, but sometimes the best offense Wichita State has is a missed shot.
Throw it up and go get it. You know, Carl Hall kneeling down right now. You know, Carl Hall has had heart issues early on in his career. And sometimes he takes a little break here and there.
There's a quasi-miracle. He's even on the floor. There's a great article. You can check it out online from Carol Rogers of the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. He has neurocardiogenic syncope. It is fainting caused by a heart condition. It was thought he couldn't play basketball anymore. He was actually working the graveyard shift at a lighting plant in the paint booth, and he was told he could be cleared to play, but he has to be very careful with this condition.
Well, he really conditions himself in order to get ready to play, and it is a non-lethal type condition based upon his doctor's diagnosis.
Hill, offensive foul. Team fouls. Dan Muller doesn't like this.
Defender is in a guarding position, and there's definitely contact there, and it doesn't have to be square on the chest. If he establishes the position and still there's contact, it can be called an offensive foul.
He's intense as a player here at Illinois State, Dan Muller. Early block by Wilkins. Are there like 7 Illinois State guys out there to dunk? And a dunk by Eaton. I swear there's more than 5 out there.
Jump shot, jump shot. Bad possession for Wichita State.
Wilkins, and he rattles home a 3, his 22nd of the year, and the Redbirds on a big-time roll. Count for me. Are there 5 or are there 7?
There's about 8,000. Illinois State and John Wilkins, who has played in the shadow of his father, Jeff Wilkins, an All-American here at Illinois State.
Virginia, Miami at 9, Tuesday on ESPNU, and also live on Watch ESPN. Miami escaped tonight at Clemson, winning in a tough game. Illinois State marking a 15-0 run the last 5:52.
They've done it on this end. That's another charge. Help defense has been sterling for Illinois State. Just when you think you have an opening, rejected by John Wilkins. And then the full court situation, throw it off.
No Harlem Shake here, but outstanding defense. This is remarkable. No team in the country has this kind of contrast.
In the first 6 games, just look at the numbers. Opponents' three-point field goal percentage down at the bottom. First 6 games, opponents shooting 42%. The last 8, 29%. That is impressive three-point defense And that has been the total focal point for this Illinois State team after they lost 6 in a row.
Let me take it a little bit further. 14 teams in American Division I out of 344 started 0-6 in their league. None of those are even close to 500. And here's Illinois State setting at 7-7 in the league.
The greatest comeback story in America tonight at Illinois State. They won 7 out of the last 8 after an 0-6 start.
Arupe with defense at the rim. He'll be called for the foul. Here's your 0-6 teams that have started in conference. Now Jackson State has been the closest. Eastern Illinois, Jay Spoonhour, Charlie's son, is trying to do the same thing in that league. And New Hampshire 3-2 after an 0-6 start.
I'll give you another OVC team that's flying below the radar, and that's Jeff Neubauer's Eastern Kentucky. They've won 21 regular season games. They now sit with the second best record in the OVC, just behind Belmont and just ahead of Murray State, one of the surprise teams in the country.
Murray State lost last night to Spoonhour's Panthers of Eastern Illinois. Here, Illinois State, a 17-0 run over 6.5 minutes. Arupe able to get the left-handed hook.
Illinois State inviting that pass into Arupe. They don't believe that he can beat them. Wichita State's played pretty fair defense for about the last 3 minutes.
Outstanding play by Casey Keene underneath to save the Redbird possession. And then Brian Allen out of control. And Clay Anthony early will get free throws.
Well, there's nothing easy in this game, is there? You got a breakaway, you can expect somebody's going to foul you on the way up hard. Legally, but hard.
And some teams will shy away from it. Wichita State thrives on it, and Illinois State has learned to thrive on it.
They really have.
Early's an 81% shooter and left that way short. He has yet to score in the game. You know, he had 39 against Southern Illinois early this year for Greg Marshall's team. That was the best output by a Shocker in 28 years since the days of Xavier McDaniel.
Early has had to deal with a renewed John Wilkins defensively, who has great length. Wilkins has done a great job on Anthony Early so far tonight.
Give Arupe credit.
Watch the red jerseys. They're constantly in a stance. That's what I like about their defense. They're always down in the stance.
Carl Hall alone set up by Jaime Arupe's move on the baseline.
Jackie Carmichael stood up, and Arupe just spun right past him.
Carmichael gets fouled. Clay Anthony Early trying to help on the dig, and he gets his second foul.
Watch Jackie Carmichael belly up and stand up right there. See how high he gets off defensively, which allows Arupe just to spin off the pressure. Good post guys, when they can feel you, they score on you.
Jackie Carmichael on the line.
Jared Sullinger from Ohio State last season was the best at that. The old school big guys, when they can feel you, they just spin off you. They use that pressure to spin away from the pressure and make a play.
Number 1, Tyler Brown. Number 44,
Jackie Carmichael just 5 points so far. He averages 18. He's the Valley's leading rebounder. Again, averaging almost a double-double. He had 22 points against Wichita State in Wichita. But look at his rankings in the league. A complete player for sure.
Comes from a very athletic family. His sister, Catherine, a standout volleyball player at Kansas. Only 15 months apart. A lot of folks thought they were twins. Jackie, the little brother.
Carmichael will rest for the time being. 21-9 Illinois State. Wichita State dodges an arrow, and here they come, potentially with numbers.
Demetric Williams just stopped that 2-on-1 fast break.
Shockers needed 3, and they got it from Malcolm Armstead.
Demetric Williams started it with that defense against a 2-on-1 break.
He's done it twice in this game, Mark, and he's got a bad hip.
Wichita State goes 2-3 zone for the first time tonight. For Tyler Brown to get into gaps. He's surveying now.
Wilkins. And he draws the foul. Let's see who they give it to. They are going to give it to Arupe, and that is his first. It's double bonus for Illinois State. And one in the last 2 years. They go up against UConn. It's Big Monday presented by Bud Light as part of Rivalry Week presented by Wendy's. Again, Baylor versus UConn Monday at 9 on ESPN2 and also live on Watch ESPN. If you have not seen Brittany Griner play, you need to. Look at the numbers. In many cases, unprecedented in Division I women's basketball history.
Yeah, I'm trying to do the math in my head of 695 blocks. Jeez.
Greg Marshall's team, Wichita State, one of the best road teams. In fact, they're the 7th best road team in the nation, Mark, over the last 2.5 years.
Well, they do it by willing you to take bad shots because they defend so hard and they rebound as well as anybody in the country. +9 rebounds per game. They're always a top 10 rebounding team in the country.
Van Vliet. John Eakey, no. A foul on John Eakey over the back. And Eakey's got his second personal foul. Wichita State not yet in the 1-on-1. Illinois State had a 17-0 run to lead Wichita State here by 11 with 3:50 to go in the first half. Wichita State not phased. Again, they are one of the best road teams in the nation over the last 2.5 years.
There they are, 24-7, just behind Kansas and Murray State, and just ahead of Syracuse. This team has a tremendous game plan for going on the road and winning.
They've had some big road wins. They win at VCU this year, 53-51.
In that VCU game, Mitch, they shot 35%. That's not very good, is it? They shot 14% from 3 and 62% from the free throw line. That's not very good. How do you win a game? They did. They won 53-51 at VCU to set the tone for Greg Marshall and the Shockers to go on the road, rebound and play defense, and you can win road games. And that's exactly what they did against VCU, shooting those shooting percentages.
They avenged their NCAA loss last year when they were a 5 seed and had a knockdown dragout against VCU in the NCAA tournament. Clear out for Armstead. He gets fouled. That will put Wichita State in the bonus at 3:38.
Foul 13, John Wilkins, his second. Team foul 7. That puts the Rebels over 11.
At halftime on ESPNU, we'll have highlights from today's action and a preview of this week's big games. Highlights and stats. It has been every night a big story in college basketball, seemingly.
I give you a couple big games next week. Bracket Buster. Oh, Creighton at St. Mary's. Akron, the longest winning streak in the country at 17 games and counting for Keith Dambrot and Zeke Marshall, one of the great shot blockers in the country. Keep an eye on Akron. They are the hottest team in the country right now, and they'll be taking on North Dakota State up in Akron, Ohio next Friday night.
And these two teams have tough bracket buster games. Wichita State will host Detroit and future pro Ray McCallum. Illinois State has to go to Utah State.
Stu Morrill, one of the best coaches that you just don't hear much about. He's a 25-game winning machine every year in Logan, Utah. You ever been to the Spectrum?
Yes, sir, I have.
Great home court advantage. Tremendous fans in Logan, Utah.
Hill with an alley. And Van Vliet defending, and that his third foul. 13 games on the ESPN family of networks. 26 teams from 13 leagues. 10 teams from last year's NCAA tournament, and a lot of these teams will be on your brackets when you see the March Madness announcements. That Creighton at St. Mary's game. Matthew Dellavedova and the Gales. And Detroit now, you talk about an athletic team. That is going to be a lot of athleticism on the floor at Koch Arena.
Ray McCallum is hello, goodbye, and under control as a point guard for his dad, Ray McCallum. Nick Minerath, another athletic guy, big, strong guy that likes to mix it up a little bit inside. It's a good matchup.
And I don't think there's going to be any doubt, because Wichita State sells out every game.
Oh, yeah. The Roundhouse will rock.
The Cameron Indoor Stadium of the Valley. Trying to get something inside. Carl Hall limited to just 4 points so far. Iki can hit threes.
A good recovery by Wichita State. Good recovery by Illinois State.
A 400-meter runner. That looked like he could win the high jump or the pole vault.
Well, he just plays so hard. Double-double machine. Has shown great leadership. When this team was 0-6, there was a player-only meeting at 0-5. And Jackie Carmichael took control of his basketball team. You've got to have internal leadership to be successful. Carmichael is that internal leader for the Redbirds of Illinois State.
Wiggins had the ball for Wichita State. His brother is the top recruit in the country. He'll try it here for three. It nails it. Nick Wiggins. His brother again, Andrew Wiggins, the top player in the 2013 recruiting class. And yet another Canadian. And speaking about athletic mothers, Nick Wiggins, his mom, is a Canadian Olympic athlete. A two-time Olympic athlete and still has the 400-meter record.
Plays
for the Canadian women.
Plays a key number 0 for Illinois State, the first Canadian to play here at Illinois State.
Wiggins, great feed of Jake White. Gets the bucket. 5 quick points for Wichita State to get within 6. And Dan Muller uses the use it or lose it timeout.
Nick Wiggins hit the big shot before, draws defenders, and takes it down to Jake White. Nick Wiggins, one of those guys that can score in bunches. He loves the three ball. You've got to respect his ability to knock down the long-range bomb.
So Wichita State started 2 of 16. But a sign of toughness, we talked our road toughness, they get hit to get the standing 8 count on the corner. They come fighting right back.
Dan Muller in his pregame speech talked about giving the first punch. They have. Now it's how you take the first punch and react to it. In Wichita State, we talked about their numbers. They don't have to shoot the ball well to win on the road. They are so good defensively.
I mentioned Nick Wiggins' mom, the Canadian Olympic track athlete. His dad, Mitchell, played in the NBA with 4 different teams. And again, his brother, the top recruit in the 2013 class, reclassified from the 14 class to 13.
Pretty good gene pool right there. And Wichita State switches the zone.
And a quick three. Brian Allen, his first three of the game, recognizing the zone.
This is where you'd like to get an earlier shot, get a 2-for-1, but I'm not sure Wichita State is aware.
Williams does. He gets the knockdown shot. He's got his first points of the game. But they only left him about a second or so, so not really a true 2-for-1.
Go full court pressure here. Wichita State trying to dial up the turnover dial. Tyler Brown, number 1 in red. He's the guy that makes the big plays in big circumstances. Jackie Carmichael, 32 in red, your option in the paint. But great defense on Tyler Brown.
Violation against Illinois State.
There was about a second difference, Mitch. You called it on the possession. It was about a 1 second difference between the shot clock and the game clock, and that was a shot clock violation. So the clock stops at the end of 35 seconds.
It should be a second and just a fraction of a second over for Wichita State with a chance to score here.
Watch as the shot clock goes to 0. There, it's about 1.3. 1.2.
I want to take you back for the 2-for-1. Demetric Williams got the bucket, but now you see if they take it a little bit earlier, now instead of 1.2, they're going to have 5 or 6.2, but it's something you talk about a lot in trying to go 2-for-1, particularly at the end of the first half.
Yeah, it's part of the NBA culture, but frankly, it's really not part of the collegiate culture. But I think it's something that would really improve the game of college basketball, to have better recognition in late first half, late game, to use the clock to your advantage to create 2 possessions versus 1 for your opponents in that late game situation. I like a shot somewhere around that 50-45 second range, so you've got 10 to 15 seconds on the backside for your last possession of the half.
Shockers can't do a whole lot here. 94 feet and 1.2. Plus, it's a stationary throw-in for Armstead. He does not get the luxury of the 53 feet to run along the end line. And he's got Carmichael in front of him. And we just saw him wash the windows of the 15th floor.
Watch for Nick Wiggins, number 15.
Williams. Almost.
Demetric Williams got a nice look.
Dan Muller's team a 17-0 run. He leads the Valley leaders 27-20 at halftime. Using a 17-0 run in the first half. And you mentioned on pregame, it's been their defense that has carried them in the 7-1 stretch and tonight.
I've been really impressed with Illinois State's ability to rotate, but keep in mind, these are the types of games where nobody shoots the ball well, where Wichita State wins. But the defense for Illinois State, there's a double team down the corner. Watch the defense react and then challenge. The head fake, and the defender goes flying by. Now it's a 5-on-4. But watch John Wilkins react and challenge the shot. As he comes up, he's long, he's athletic, he challenges, freeze it right there as we get all 3 red bodies that are all blocking off physically, and they go up and get the basketball. That's the type of reaction, challenge, and block off to finish a defensive possession.
And a set play for Dan Muller out of the timeout to get Jackie Carmichael. A great look, and he misses a layup for Illinois State to start the half. Demetric Williams chases down his own miss.
Wichita State trying to pound it inside to Carl Hall. There it is.
A foul is on Brian Allen reaching in for Illinois State.
Carl Hall got 3 touches in that possession. You think Greg Marshall might have challenged his team to get the ball inside starting the second half and really attack Jackie Carmichael?
Ball at the line, 68%. 6 double-doubles this year for the senior from Cochran, Georgia. And we mentioned that unique heart condition that he has to play with, which threatened his career.
Well, and remember the coach, Greg Marshall, on his first day on the job, went to New Hampton Prep, where Wichita State had signed Alain Natang. And after 30 minutes of shaking hands that Natang would go and play for Greg Marshall, he died of a heart attack on the floor. Greg Marshall learned from that experience how to appreciate where he is. And he loves his job at Wichita State. And he certainly learned how to work with Carl Hall through his challenges as well. Quite a story about a coach and a player.
And again, the heart condition, the neurocardiogenic syncope that Carl Hall has to play with. Fainting that is caused by the condition. Hall with the block and a great start to the half for Wichita State.
Great start for Carl Hall.
They only scored 17 against Southern Mississippi in the first half of the game at Intrust Arena in Wichita. They came back to win that game, and they're starting this half like that game.
Quite an adjustment for Wichita State. Pounded into number 22, Carl Hall.
And Allen just launches a 3.
Hall with another rebound.
And a foul on Johnny Hill of Illinois State. Brian Allen probably going to get some time with Dan Muller, I'm guessing. And there he goes. Have a little chat with the coach.
That happens sometimes. With brain surgery on the bench. Matched up with Hall down low.
Big challenge for Akey. 3 missed from Malcolm Armstead. Brown pulls up.
Watch out. When he gets it going, he typically scores in bunches.
His first field goal of the game.
Lit up Creighton for 27 in the win at Omaha.
Good block up by Johnny Hill of the Redbirds. Skip pass, and Akey waits in the corner for the 3.
The defense was so focused on Carmichael, who was right next to Tyler Brown, and a reason for the defense to be focused on him, and Akey was wide open.
Dangerous pass, and Cotton with a great recovery. To shoot. Williams slashing with just mere seconds on the shot clock.
No panic by Wichita State.
And Carmichael, they're going to wave it off. He traveled.
Watch Jackie Carmichael. Yep. Takes extra steps. Got happy feet down low. That happens when you feel a shot blocker in your area. And Ahime Arupe was right there.
Arupe with 45 blocks this year. Armstead, tough shot. That's off the top of the square.
That's leadership from a point guard right there.
And a couple perimeter players giving Wichita State back-to-back scores. Deep, and he's fouled by Armstead.
When you're on the road, you need a little bit of leadership. When you need leadership at Wichita State, Malcolm Armstead.
Illinois State 32-27 at the under 16. Second half timeout, but Wichita State with a really good start to the half.
And defensively, for Wichita State, they're so focused on the top scorers, Carmichael and Brown. Look at the three defenders. Carl Hall, number 22, on the right-hand side of your screen. He's so focused on the ball and the two good scorers that John Eakey is wide open. Eakey is an X factor. When he makes shots, it makes their team so much better.
Wichita State is so good defensively in just the way they set up. Here we see the numbers. Just 2 threes tonight for Wichita State. The Redbirds with 3. The corner 3. When you teach the principles that Greg Marshall teaches, how difficult is it to defend the corner 3?
It's very difficult, especially when you have Tyler Brown with the ball and you got Carmichael, who you've got to account for rolling down to the paint. You've got 3 defenders who are basically guarding 2, and it's pick your poison. And in this case, they found Eakey wide open. This kid really struggled during the 0-6 stretch, but when he makes shots, Illinois State becomes a contender at that point.
But he became a complimentary scorer at that point because Brown was nuts. He didn't have to go out and feel like he had to get 15 or something. Back to 7 for the Redbirds. Wichita State first in the Valley. Illinois State has won 7 out of 8. The league's hottest team.
There's really a quick lineup in here for Wichita State. Van Fleet, Armstead, 2 point guards in together. Anthony Early and Wiggins, Nick Wiggins.
It's a heck of a pass. 6 to shoot. Van Fleet. Brian Allen.
Illinois State is countered with their own quick defensive skilled basketball team to match Wichita State. The surprise for me tonight has been that Anthony Early just has not gotten it going.
No points for Early, and he averages 15 a game. At 39 in a game, as I mentioned earlier, and here's a foul on Early. Now he's got 3 fouls marked to go with the donut that he's got scoring.
Out of bounds to the Redbirds.
That is tough to overcome when your leading scorer has 0 points. And he will now take a seat. Jake White checks in.
And Early now 0 for 3 from the field, 0 for 4 from the field, and 3 for his last 16 from 3.
He looks frustrated.
2-time National Junior College Player of the Year in Division III at Sullivan Community College. Hustle play by Brown. 1 against 3, and he got the ball mark. That's normally what Wichita State does to others.
They're not 0-6 anymore, and a lot of it's because number 1, Tyler Brown, and his effort.
And his scoring.
But it all started with that all-out dive for the loose ball.
Set up by Brian Allen. This team was 0-6 in the league at one point.
They were 0-6 at one point. Not anymore.
Energy from the Illinois State Redbirds to lead Wichita State 38-27. 13:22 to go in the game. It all started with Tyler Brown's hustle play.
Tyler Brown has become a leader. This is a guy that was suspended at one point for a lack of team-oriented attitude. Knocks down the three ball, runs the floor. His brother Jackie gave him sage advice when he was suspended. Move forward and accept responsibility. And that's exactly what Illinois State has done from the lead of Tyler Brown.
I want to ask you this. Pressing teams hate to be pressed. Great rebounding teams hate to be rebounded. Hustle teams hate to be out-hustled. Wichita State makes a living off rebounding and hustling. Right now, Illinois State has out-rebounded them, and that sequence we just saw will drive Wichita State crazy, will it not?
It really will, because Wichita State is built on hard work, 50-50 balls, and retrieving them first and getting second chance points opportunities. They outwork you. They manufacture points with their work ethic. They can settle down here now. They started the half really looking for Carl Hall, matched up with Jackie Carmichael.
The left-hander, Armstead, the former Oregon Duck, has 11. His first second-half three.
I love that kid. He is truly the leader of this Wichita State basketball team.
He was 4 for 6 from three Wednesday night at home against Drake.
Well, he's not afraid to take big shots. He wants the ball in his hand to take big shots.
Keene is not a shooter. And Hill's out of bounds.
Wichita State ball.
A look at Carmichael. He's been held to 6 points. There's also Johnny Hill, but Jackie Carmichael, just 6 points in this game. He's close to double figures in rebounds.
Well, credit the defense of guys like Carl Hall, Ahime Arupe. And they can throw strength at you, Wichita State, and length at you with Arupe. Dynamic combination defensively for Wichita State. That's why they're so successful on the road.
Williams. Jake White stays right with it underneath for Wichita State.
That's the Wichita State effort right there. That's the manufacturing of points.
Shockers back within 6. And Carmichael steps up and hits one just inside the three-point line. Armstead again off the top of the square.
He is taking over offensively for Wichita State.
Twice he's hit that runner high off the glass.
Oh, that's good defense on the ball, too, by Malcolm Armstead.
Wichita State will get it.
This is Wichita State basketball. If you don't make the first one, try the second one. And then go ahead and stick the third one back in.
Wichita State was down 14. Now they're within 6. Olynyk is a stud. 7 foot. We talk about Carmichael running the floor. Put 3 or 4 more inches on Carmichael. You've got Olynyk. Hot layup. His first basket of the game, and Wichita State is within 4.
With just a tremendous high screen and a great cut off that screen.
Ooh, he'll miss Wilkins.
Wichita State really turning up the defensive heat.
possession, and Hill's got a bucket and an and one opportunity. This time, Illinois State showed the patience.
Shot clock's running down. Johnny Hill takes it left. Defender a little bit late. Boy, Wichita State defended so well for such a long period of time. But when the offense shows patience, you also have to have defensive patience and stay in a stance.
And Jake White from Chaska, Minnesota, from the city's called for the foul. Hill gets a three-point play. That's 8 in the game for the sophomore.
Greg Marshall giving Malcolm Armstead every screen he wants up top.
And an offensive foul. Demetric Williams runs in to Tyler Brown.
They left his feet instead of the 2-foot jump stop. Whenever you leave your feet in the paint, something bad's going to happen.
That's 12 Wichita State turnovers in the game. Redbirds give it right back.
I feel a little momentum changing right here. Wichita State starting to grind it out a little bit.
Dan Muller led his alma mater. 2 regular season, 2 Valley Tournament titles as a player, and now trying to do the same thing as a head coach. Brown misses the dunk. White with just enough pressure at the rim. And Cotton. Brown will try it again.
Back-to-back missed layups. And Wichita State had a great opportunity to take full advantage of that miss. They missed their own layup. On the shot clock.
Armstead drains the 3. 16 for Malcolm Armstead.
You gotta love it.
His career high was at Oregon, actually, against Stanford when he had 22.
This shows such great leadership at key times of basketball games.
Leave the goal open for Allen.
No backside help. And Greg Marshall doesn't like that at all. He's going to go to his bench, looks like.
Well, he loves that move. Armstead has done that 3 times with the left hand off the top of the square.
Armstead's cramping up. Got right hamstring. He's cramping up. Just raised his hand.
Well, Brown's going to get free throws, but now all of a sudden, Armstead has an issue.
He takes the ball to the basket. And he comes back holding his hamstring. He's just cramping up right now. With 8:08 to go in the game, that's the last thing Greg Marshall wants to see. He's been carrying this basketball team in the second half.
12 points in the second half. 2 threes and 3 different times has taken that left-handed inside dribble powering to the goal.
And once you cramp up once, there's a good chance you're going to continue to cramp up.
Brown gets his 12th point.
That's the story right there. When can Malcolm Armstead come back in this basketball game, and then how effective can he be? Greg Marshall has overcome so many injuries with this basketball team. Carl Hall was out for multiple games. Wessel Baker's still not back in the lineup. and Greg Marshall has managed it effectively.
Yeah, Ron Baker with that foot injury. Evan Wessel, the hand injury. And yet they still lead the league. And tonight, they got all they want in Illinois State. Wiggins, the offensive board, and he draws a foul.
Fouls on 44, Tim Hill. Hill's third foul.
Malcolm Armstead, you mentioned trying to keep Wichita State in the game. 3 threes, 2 in the second half.
Hand over 2 defenders off the glass. He's 3 for 6 from the three-point line. Malcolm Armstead has been the offense for Wichita State here in the second half. 18 points, 4 assists for Malcolm Armstead tonight.
And yet he is cramping, and they are working to get that alleviated on the Wichita State bench. They need him back as quickly as possible. Happens at a tough time. If this is the first half, you might have a chance to give him an IV at halftime, perhaps. But no time for that now. Clay Anthony early has yet to score for Wichita State, Mark.
You know, it was a little bit warmer in Normal, Illinois here this afternoon, and this building was a little bit warmer when we started the game here. It might have something to do with the cramping.
Illinois State wearing red tonight, even though they're at home because of the red out promotion. Wichita State did the same thing, wearing black at home when they beat Creighton back in mid-January.
Illinois State just not giving up any lead pass to the wings.
Van Vliet, that's his first bucket of the game.
That was a no-pass possession for the score.
And Wichita State goes to sleep at the other end, and a cherry-pick play for Carmichael.
That's where a 47-second 400-meter dasher can help you in the 94-foot situation. He simply outruns everybody down the floor.
Plus, it gets Arufe his third foul. They're going to review to see if Van Vliet's three-pointer is a 3. Van Vliet, as you see Muller talking to Jackie Carmichael, let's take a look at Van Vliet. He's coming off a career-high 17 against Drake on Wednesday night. This is his first bucket of the game, and the question is it a 2 or a 3?
It looks like it's a 3. Watch his right foot. He's behind the line. That's a 3. That was a no-pass possession. There was no entry pass to the wing. Van Vliet, late in the shot clock, just took it on his own and knocked down the shot. A gutty freshman.
But here's what will drive Greg Marshall crazy. It's as if Wichita State relaxed, and then Carmichael hits him immediately with the 85-foot pass, and now he can get a three-point play.
You hardly ever get an easy basket against Wichita State's transition defense.
Carmichael is close to a double-double. He has 8 rebounds and now 10 points. He's also perfect at the line in this game.
Not anymore.
Proud graduate of the LeBron James Skill Academy, you can tell.
He and McDermott both went, and both learned a lot. Illegal screen by Carl Hall.
Paul Jansen is it's the first foul on Hall. 7 now on Wichita State. That's 6:59 to go in the game.
Illinois State only with 3 fouls here in the second half. But that's where Johnny Hill's size, he can see over that double team.
Allen teardrop. The Minnesota Gopher football player has 10 points.
That's a hard shot to make, especially over Carl Hall. Hall timed his jump perfectly. Allen right over his fingertips.
Good curl. With this Anthony's first points, he got a chance to go to the line. Wilkins trailed the curl and paid the price.
Fouls on 13, John Wilkins, his third.
Malcolm Armstead ready to check back in the basketball game. He's still rubbing that right hamstring area.
Again, Clay Anthony early at 16 against the Redbirds in Wichita has his first point of the game. The leading Shocker scorer for the season finally in the book at 6:26 to go in the game.
Well, that's the first time tonight that Wichita State has curled off the screen, and it got Clay Anthony early to the line. Look for that adjustment as they continue to run their offense and try to get leads into their wing guys.
The Illinois State students have been great tonight. We were hoping to get a great crowd and active, and it has been awesome here tonight. They're trying to refire the tradition here in Normal, Illinois.
Welcome to the Valley. It's like this everywhere.
Free throwing, 18 of 21 for the Redbirds. They did this the other night. They were 18 of 20 against their rivals, Bragg.
That's smart. Malcolm Armstead obviously playing on what could be a bad wheel, and Johnny Hill just attacked him off the dribble. You attack him until he proves he can move.
Early. Being aggressive. Beniki's got a third foul. He and Wilkins both now saddled with 3.
Greg Marshall just had a discussion with Malcolm Armstead about the defense on the opposite end. And Armstead mentioned something about his leg, and Greg Marshall just kind of gave him that look like, you better step up. No excuse time.
And Early is saying, if I'm not going to get him from the field, I'll get him from the line. I look at Armstead, who had 89 steals at Oregon 2 years ago. That was a UO record.
He leads Wichita State in steals as well with 48 on the season. With full court pressure here.
This pressure has not bothered Illinois State tonight, and now they're going to the line. They're in the bonus. That's Early's 4th foul.
Team foul 8 against Wichita State, and it's 1 in bonus for the Redbirds.
Frustrating night so far for Clay Anthony Early. And Hill to the line where he's 4 of 5.
Johnny Hill was a non-entity last year. He averaged 7 minutes per game. With the coaching change, the slate was wiped clean, and Johnny Hill saw the opportunity with the transfer of Nick Moore to Southern Methodist with Tim Jankovic. Jankovic, the former head coach at Illinois State. Now Johnny Hill, the point guard for Illinois State.
Jang now at SMU with Larry Brown. Hill gets both free throws. He had 19 points and 7 rebounds in that win they had in Omaha against Creighton.
2-3 zone from Illinois State. Switch of the defense.
John Eakey, Illinois State's had active hands all night.
This 2-3 zone won the game for Illinois State against Creighton in Omaha. And this team got tremendous confidence in their ability to defend out of this zone. Dan Muller goes back to it again tonight against Wichita State.
Williams launches a 3 right over the top of the zone.
That'll take care of it.
The winningest player in Wichita State history. A badly needed 3 to get the Shocks back within 6. Hard foul. Is a tough take by Tyler Brown.
Foul number 50, Jake White, his second 19 foul against Wichita State. 2-shot foul for the Redbirds.
Mark, Illinois State has hurt Wichita State here for the last 4 or 5 minutes with inside dribble.
Tyler Brown, one of those guys, he's got that big game toughness. He can take the bump. He wants to take and make big shots. So I'm basically winning the game single-handedly at Creighton.
Hey, tomorrow, look at ESPNU, full menu for you. Norfolk State and Hampton at 4:30 Eastern. Then Rutgers and Villanova. Villanova, both those two teams trying to improve their resume. That'll be at 9 Eastern on ESPNU.
Norfolk State, one of the hot teams in the country as well. They have really come alive after the non-conference slate.
15 for Tyler Brown, back to 8.
Dan Muller going to the 2-3 zone again. And nobody's getting the gaps. Everything is a perimeter pass right now. They got to get the ball in Armstead's hands. There he is.
Wichita State is not yet on the bonus. 16 fouls on the Redbirds at 4:48 to go in the game.
Against that zone, you can't just get ball movement. You got to get ball movement, player movement, and activity in the gaps. And Malcolm Armstead is the best at doing that.
Wichita State is now on the bonus.
Another long possession. That's in favor of Illinois State.
Shock's trying to ball screen the top of that zone earlier. Nothing's happening at it. Williams just hit a 3.
Tough zone defense by Illinois State. Very effective on that long possession. Not only a missed shot, but about a 50-second possession.
Again, inside dribble for the Redbirds and a foul. Double bonus. 10 fouls on Wichita State.
His second team foul 10. The Redbirds are in the double bonus. 2 shots.
So that's how valuable when you think about it, not being in the bonus. Illinois State, they had a foul after burning about 20 seconds off the clock and then could reset their zone again and another 30 seconds off the clock.
But the Shocks have had a hard time keeping the Redbirds in front of them on the dribble.
And that's why Illinois State has gone to the free throw line a lot tonight. Big advantage from the line for Illinois State. Last I checked, Illinois State is plus 17 from the free throw line.
Double-digit lead again for Illinois State, trying to go 8-1 in their last 9 Valley games.
Zone again. See if there's a little penetration in the gaps.
That's one way to attack the zone.
An important game. Illinois State, one of the comeback teams in the country, won 7 out of the last 8. Wichita State in the top spot in the Valley. A lot of other college basketball fans burn it up because when you want to follow different conferences across the country and the teams that you like the Missouri Valley, you got Wichita State at 10-4 tonight, a half-game lead on Creighton. Indiana State at 9-6, the dark horse. Northern Iowa coming down the stretch, a dangerous basketball team in Illinois State. The great comeback, 0-6 to start conference play. They've won 7 out of their last 8. And with a win tonight, be a huge boost for this Illinois State basketball team.
Dan Muller, can you be 0-6 as a start and get Missouri Valley Conference Coach of the Year?
Theoretically, yes. Although right now, if I was picking Coach of the Year, I think it would have to be Greg Marshall with the way that he has managed all of his injuries to this basketball team and still sit atop the Missouri Valley Conference.
Hard to argue against that. Here is Carl Hall, just 8 tonight, 4 under his average. Two badly needed tosses.
Full court pressure. Well, that's a luxury, having John Wilkins at his size at 6'9", where he can come down against the press and see over defenders. Bad shot.
And Hall seals Carmichael. And they're within 6 again.
Boy, Hall posted up very early in that possession.
And Tyler Brown, timeout. Dan Mueller. He had Paul Jansen right in front of him to avoid a 5 count. Hall so strong and using that lower body.
Look how early he posts up. And he just pins Jackie Carmichael down low, and Malcolm Armstead sees it right away. There's one other guy in this conference that does that as well as anybody in the country, and that's Doug McDermott. Scored McDermott in their sophomore year. That's Robertson and Bird.
This time, Illinois State using discretion to bring it out and run some clock after Brown had the quick trigger the last possession. And Arupe is fouling Carmichael. That's 4 on Ahime Arupe.
Of course, we don't want to slight the Bradley fans up north. Of course, Percy Hawkins had over 3,000 points in his career.
Jackie Carmichael at the line, 2 shots.
Two comebacks that have been entertaining to watch. Of course, we talked about Illinois State. How about Northern Iowa? They opened conference season at Wichita and absolutely got hammered, and they were psychologically bruised for about 2-3 weeks. But that team has bounced back now as well. Ben Jacobson has Seth Tuttle and Jake Cook. Anthony James got them playing at a very high level right now. Illinois State staying with the 2-3 zone. And the plus of this is that Wichita State has used a lot of clock every possession.
They go to Hall. But they burn 28 seconds of time to do so.
Foul on 32, Jackie Carmichael, his second.
I like how Carl Hall just caught that ball, kept the ball above his head, and just powered up to the defenders. That's exactly what you should do in that circumstance. So many big guys bring it down, or anybody can get their hands on the ball.
Dan Muller's an Illinois State player, never lost to Wichita State. Of course, he lost in Wichita as a head coach earlier this year. Hall trying to drag his team with him to keep him in the game. That's 4 straight makes at the line for the senior from Cochran, Georgia.
Those are prescription goggles. It's improved his free throw percentage. I should have worn glasses when I played.
Brown quick to meet the ball, and Hall gets the steal and knocks it off Brown's head.
We'll see if an official helps out here. It looked like it hit Hall when the ball ricocheted. Let's take a look at it. What an athletic play, though. A wingspan. Hall grabs it.
No, that's off Illinois State. I think that's called correct.
Hall stepped on the line with his left foot there, though, as well. But it's Wichita State ball. Doesn't matter what we think.
Nope, 6 points. And the Shockers finally get something out of their press. Now can they take advantage of it?
Illinois State back to man-to-man. They've switched out of the zone.
Early. Drains the 3. His first field goal of the game. Comes at 2:05. It is a 1-possession game at 2 minutes to go.
Full court pressure. Wichita State backs off, goes man-to-man.
Brown, a deep 3, ill-advised shot. And Wichita State can tie with a 3.
Well, Anthony early, he wants it, he gets it.
And Hill with the backside board.
Spread the defense, use clock, attack off the dribble. You want to draw contact. Don't settle for the 3 unless it's off a dribble penetration pass. Otherwise, attack.
Muller's got a whole satchel full of timeouts. Brown blocked by Hall. What we got here? It's a foul.
Foul on Carl Hall.
Foul is on 22, Carl Hall. His second. Double bonus for the records. 2 shots.
Huge. And now Brown will have 2 shots.
He did exactly what he should do on that possession. He settled for the long jump shot the previous possession. Didn't make the second mistake again. He invited contact.
Timeout, Illinois State. Illinois State wants a full timeout.
And a timeout by Dan Muller to discuss the situation. 6 straight free throw makes now for Tyler Brown. But Wichita State again showing some courage. Anthony early held in check throughout the entire game. Gets a 3. Gets within 1 possession. Now can the Shockers pull this off on the road, or can Illinois State stay hot and get 8 out of 9?
Well, you've got the leadership of Malcolm Armstead, who's going to make all the important decisions offensively. Anthony early seems to have his mojo back right now. And then you got Carl Hall with second chance opportunities off the miss. So a lot of weapons for Greg Marshall and Wichita State. Now Dan Muller has to make a decision. They were successful in the 2-3 zone for multiple possessions. Then they went man-to-man, and guess who got it going? Anthony early, the leading scorer for Wichita State. I'd look for Muller to go with a different defense, maybe switch up to a 2-3 zone one more time to give Wichita State one more change of the defensive look.
And before all that, Tyler Brown gets another free throw. Wichita State, a very difficult remaining schedule. They go to Indiana State Tuesday. The Sycamores beat them in Wichita.
Yeah, it's never fun playing against Jake Odom and a team that's coached by Greg Lansing. And then Detroit, Ray McCallum, one of the true premier mid-major guards in the country.
Evansville at home. Evansville beat them in Evansville. Here's your one-on-one. Check the numbers.
Yeah, it's going to be a titanic struggle for the next missed shot down the Wichita State end.
He is now at his season average of 17 points per game.
John Eakey now comes into the game for Wilkins. And it looks like Illinois State will fall back into the 2-3 zone.
Inside out to Armstead. Robbed at the rim, and Carmichael claims the rebound. And thought Greg Marshall is wanting a call against Carmichael on the rebound. He thought he needed to get a kick after he had the ball.
Well, there's an elbow rule, but there's no size 16 rule. Watch Jackie Carmichael. Look how high he gets up for the rebound. And watch his foot right there on Cotton.
Wait a minute here. They're going to go to the monitor and look at this. And this could be gigantic as Greg Marshall wants a call. Now, he got a pretty good shot. And the 3 that rattled out. And the question is, was it intentional by Jackie Carmichael?
Well, the interesting thing here is that there was contact above the shoulder. Now, we talk about the elbow rule. When there's contact above the shoulder, then there's the potential to upgrade to a flagrant 1 foul. Now, there was no foul on this, So not a legitimate play on the ball. Holder push from behind. Illegal elbow above the shoulders. Excessive contact during a dead ball, that doesn't apply. Excessive contact during a live ball, that could apply.
Wow, but that's gigantic. A flagrant 2 means an ejection of Jackie Carmichael.
You'd have to determine that there was intent to kick the guy in the face.
We mentioned 3 veteran officials. These guys can't begin to count how many games they have worked combined in their career.
Well, this is a very unusual call, very unusual situation. You usually don't have an athlete that gets up that high that's going to put a foot in somebody's face.
At 41.2, they're going to do something here. The way they're talking and pointing.
This is a long conference. Usually that means a flagrant 1 foul.
They're going to call
what it's called.
But this is not the normal flagrant 1 we've seen all year.
Well, Greg Marshall was all over it. There was contact above the shoulders. It happened to be with Jackie Carmichael's foot. I want to get the explanation from the official.
We're getting it explained. They're going to call a flagrant 1 foul on Jackie Carmichael. I think there will be a personal foul then called on Malcolm Armstead of Wichita State.
So it's a flagrant 1 foul because of the contact of the foot above the shoulders. We have an elbow rule, and I guess now we have a foot rule as well. And so now remember, there was a foul called on the play. So Johnny Hill will shoot 2 free throws. And then Wichita State will shoot 2 free throws on their end, plus possession.
That thing almost came out. Instead, it's a 13th point for Hill in his 5th straight free throw make. Dan Muller's team has been awesome at the line now 2 straight games. He needed both of these because now Wichita State gets the 2 you mentioned in possession.
And possession.
It is a 3-possession margin right now. If he doesn't hit those, it's 2 possession. Early's hit 5 in a row.
Carmichael now has 3 fouls. The team has 9 fouls.
I'm telling you, Johnny Hill's 2 free throws are gigantic. Or otherwise, you'd be sitting here looking at a 1-possession game.
Well, now you definitely want to be in attack mode.
Zone.
They're going to use a little bit of clock here.
Demetric Williams. 3! And Wichita State is within 2 points at 27.2 seconds. It is why Wichita State is one of the toughest road teams in America and why they're 19-5 on the road in this league the last 2.5 years.
They don't need to shoot the ball well because they're going to defend you. They're going to grind it out. They're going to figure out a way to compete. They're like the refuse-to-lose team of the early 90s with Lou Rowe and Marcus Camby at UMass under John Calipari. That's what this team reminds me of. They just refuse to lose, and they're the 3rd best road team in the country over the last 3 seasons. Man, do they compete.
And this gives you an idea just how good they have been on the road. Murray State was actually at the top of this list until they slipped. But this is far from over. Wichita State has already forced a turnover in their pressure against Illinois State. Crowd has been great tonight. place has been rocking. Hill, Wichita State, a turnover. Hill cannot hang on to the ball, and now the Shockers have an underneath inbounds. Can tie it with the 2 or win it or go ahead with the 3.
And Cleanthony Early comes back in the game for offensive purposes for Greg Marshall. He just loses the basketball, plain and simple. There's no foul. Johnny Hill just loses the ball. Early and Armstead, 11 in black. Malcolm Armstead, 2 in black.
Wichita State has not led since 5-4. Timeout. Greg Marshall, 15 seconds.
Wichita State has a full timeout.
The Shockers have not led since 5-4 at 13:45 left to go in the first half. Illinois State was able to handle the pressure for most of the game, but in the last couple of minutes, the Shockers have forced 2 backcourt turnovers.
Well, and Greg Marshall has some pretty good options here in the half-court set. First, you have Malcolm Armstead, who's steady with the basketball. And remember, he loves to go left and put it off the glass. You've got Cleanthony Early, and the thing I like about Early is that you can invert your offense. You can put him down the block where he can score and score over a smaller defender. You can also roll him off the screens for the 3-point shot where he can see over a defender. So Greg Marshall has weapons on this possession.
And look at the Shockers showing some toughness here, down as many as 14. And the flagrant 1 call against Jackie Carmichael looms large.
It really does. A foot to the face on a rebound, called a flagrant 1 foul. There's the rebound, and there's the foot in the face. The officials determined that there was some intent, and therefore a flagrant 1 foul.
At 41.2 seconds. And Illinois State was ahead 65-60. They made 2 free throws because of a foul on Wichita State, but then the Shockers had 2 free throw makes and a 3, and then they get the turnover. Now Wichita State could take the lead with the 3.
To the top, there's Early.
To win it, Cleanthony Early, at least to have the lead at 4.8, which Illinois State calls timeout. Cleanthony Early did not have a field goal in this game till 2 minutes and 5 seconds remaining in regulation. He hit a 3 then. Now he's got a 3 at 4.8. Wichita State has their first lead since mid-first half.
The pick and pop. And look at the smaller defender, Brian Allen, who's on Cleanthony Early. Watch this, the switch, which forces the smaller defender, and Cleanthony Early gets a perfect look at the basket.
And we're going to see if they give more time on the clock, as Jerry Pollard wants Paul Jansen to come to the table. Since the flagrant 1 foul on Jackie Carmichael and the 2 foul shots made on the common foul prior to the administration of the flagrant 1, Wichita State has gone on an 8-0 run in 36 seconds.
They might put a few tenths on, might be 5 seconds left in this basketball game. And here's the good news for Dan Muller. You have Tyler Brown, who is lightning quick with the basketball. And you've got the athletic Jackie Carmichael, who certainly can catch, turn, and score as well. Arupe put in the game for Wichita State to match up with Carmichael. 4.8 is a lot of time. That's plenty of dribbles to get to the basket. 5.8, excuse me. 5.2.
Hey, we saw Markel Brown of Oklahoma State go 2.2 and go the distance.
Let's make sure the clock starts, too, on the touch. Remember earlier, the clock situation.
And Arupe at the goal on the other end to block anything. Carmichael. To win it? No! Wichita State gets an incredible victory on the road, trailing most of the game. And the Shockers score 8 points in the last 36 seconds to go 11-4 in the Valley.
Perfectly executed pick and pop. And because of the switch, Cleanthony Early gets the easy look over the smaller defender. We're a long way from a Missouri Valley Conference championship, but the Wichita State Shockers took a huge step toward a potential regular season Valley championship here tonight in Normal, Illinois.
Wichita State led most of the game. And let's go to our player of the game. It's brought to you by Coventry Healthcare. Early was late, as in late game, big shot, 12 points. Didn't have a field goal until 2:05 left in the game.
Well, credit Greg Marshall with that timeout of recognizing that Illinois State was going to switch on that man-to-man defense. And next thing you know, Cleanthony Early has a great look for the win.
Wichita State takes a giant step in trying to win its back-to-back Valley championship for the first time in 58 years as the Shockers win 68-67 over Illinois State here in Normal. Coming up next on ESPNU 30 for 30, the Ghosts of Ole Miss, presented by Buick. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. Good night from Red Bird Arena in Normal, Illinois.